Important information in the new year. This could be a huge loss of money for people with a legacy IRA or retirement owners. James Lang, a CPA and attorney at Lang Financial Group, is here to tell us what we need to know to protect ourselves as well as our family. Good to have you here, Jim.
Thank you for having me.
So this just jumped out at me immediately because I have an IRA. Most of the people in my family have that too, as well as retirement. So, and you said that you've been dreading the passage of this for like the last 5 years now. Why should we be so concerned? Who should be concerned?
Well, the person who should be the most concerned are IRA and retirement plan owners, and particularly the people who've worked hard all their lives. They sacrifice, they put money in their IRA, their 401k, their 403b, their retirement plan, and they were hoping for a good retirement and a good legacy for their children, and now this law is really changing the game, for many of them very late in the game.
Okay, so when we're talking about this being a game changer, what was it before? What happened when you died before, and what is going to be happening now that this law is passed?
Well, you mentioned that your dad had an IRA. So let's just say it was $500,000 and at his death he was going to leave it to you. Under the old law, you could just take a very small percentage of it, maybe 2 or 3%, take that out, pay taxes on it, and leave the rest to just continue to grow tax deferred. So you're not paying taxes on it, on the whole thing, until you're in your 80s or 90s. Mm-hmm. But that was the old law 3 days ago. Today, if your dad dies with that IRA, you're going to have to pay tax on the whole thing in 10 years. And if we go back to that $500,000 number, the difference, given certain reasonable assumptions, is it is the difference between you having $1 million when you are much older and you being broke. So this is a major, major concern for people who have worked hard and have accumulated IRAs and retirement plans.
Right, because this falls back on family members, the younger generation, right?
It does.
And we're not aware of it. Unless you were here, I wouldn't have heard about it because it just kind of sneaked past in the few days before the new year.
Literally sneaked past. And I seriously doubt that most of the people who voted for it really understood the consequences of it.
Are there any exceptions to this? Is this an ironclad, just broad along the spectrum?
Well, the important exception is a surviving spouse. So if you die with an IRA or a retirement plan and you leave it to your spouse, they're going to work under the old laws, meaning that they can stretch or defer the taxes. There's a few other minor exceptions. If you are leaving money to somebody who is less than 10 years younger than you, that might be a partner, it might be a sibling. And the other, for some, very important exception is if the beneficiary is chronically ill or disabled, then they can stretch it over their lives. But for everybody else, we're talking about a massive confiscation after the death of the IRA and the retirement plan owner.
So you need to see an expert. People need to see you.
Well, you need to see an expert, but you really, even if you don't see an expert, and there's a lot of knowledgeable do-it-yourselfers, you need to learn about this. You know, there's certainly resources. I have them, other people have them. This is not something that you want to just say, oh, shucks, a bad law, and then go off and do whatever you're going to do. This is the kind of thing that you go, oh, this is going to make a huge difference to my family. There are proactive steps that I can take that will dramatically reduce the impact of this law. I better learn about them and find out which ones are appropriate for me and which ones might not be.
But when you say sometimes these are pretty accessible, it also can be pretty daunting for people to do the research and figure it out on their own.
Well, it can be. I don't want to say, oh, you have to come see me, but there's plenty of good CPAs and attorneys and financial advisors who are on top of this. This happens to be one of my signature issues because I've been working about it for 5 years. We've run the numbers. I've written a couple books, lots of articles. But whether it's me or somebody else, if you have an IRA and a retirement plan and you are hoping to leave it to your family in a tax-favored manner, this is the time to take action.
Yeah, figure out how it can apply to you and make sure that they get the money that they need.
And figure out what you can do. There are very specific things that you can do that will significantly reduce the impact of this new law.
Well, this needed to be brought to light. I wouldn't have found out about it, and I think most of our viewers wouldn't have found out about this until much further down the road. Jim, thanks for being here this morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
Lang Financial Group is offering a free webinar. If you'd like to learn more about that, you can call 412-521-2732, or you can visit paytaxeslater.com/webinar.